Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another edition of Talkin Dodgers, brought to you by Rot Your Brain Media. This episode is sponsored by Command Creative Studios. Looking to jump into the podcast world and start making your own content? Command Creative Studios is your one-stop shop for professional podcasts. With a team of audio engineers, music composers, and graphic designers, Command Creative Studios can get your podcast sounding professional as well as looking professional. For more information, please visit commandcreativestudios.com. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Help us spread like a virus.
Like a virus.
You'll get notifications when new episodes are up. This is what's on deck. We're going to talk, we're going to go over the Dodgers National League West champs record, the best team in baseball, at least on paper. Ohtani's milestones, his first year as a Dodger. We're going to talk season's surprises, MVPs who are not one of the MV3s. We're going to talk LVP, which is in letdowns. I'm not wording this right at all. That's fine. And then we're going to go over the
valuable player.
Least valuable player. We're going to talk playoff bracket set. We're going to talk preview the Braves Padres series and how that will affect the Dodgers moving forward. Before we get started, we're going to talk about Pete Rose. He passed away today at the age of 83. A statement made by Major League Baseball says Major League Baseball extends its deepest condolences to Pete Rose's family, his friends across the game, and the fans of his hometown of Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and beyond, who admire his greatness, grit, and determination on the field of play. May he rest in peace. Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle. Mike, you want to take this one over?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of admiration for Pete Rose or Charlie Hustle. I think we've talked about it a lot. I know baseball's gone a lot towards analytics and, personal accolades and large contracts. I feel like his tenacity and, the way he played the game and hustled and just played with reckless abandon, and he was all about winning.
Yeah.
And just winning. It's sad that he's gone. I really wish he would have the opportunity to go to the Hall of Fame. I really wish this generation of players played like him.
Oh.
And I hope the next generation of ball players remembers his legacy and he's not forgotten.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing I want to see is I'd like to see his legacy live in the Hall of Fame. And unfortunately, if that does happen, he won't be around to see it. He just embodied the game of baseball. He loved baseball. I know obviously everybody knows it's well documented that he made a mistake, but no one can deny how he played the game. And
right.
I mean, a lot of us can admire that weren't elite level athletes, and there's pictures of him, diving 3 feet off the ground to slide into home, getting into fights. He's an old school baseball player and
knocking down the catcher in the middle of an all-star game.
Yeah, right.
That
like he played to win. He played to win. He played with swag. Like I don't think it was ever about the contract. It was for the love of the game, and I think that's missing from today's game. And I just hope his legacy lives on. I hope he's not forgotten.
Yeah.
But rest in peace, Charlie Hustle. I hope, like I said, his legacy lives on and baseball doesn't forget about him.
Max, you want to add anything to that?
No, I completely agree. I mean, it's a travesty that they, yes, what he did was horrible, but I still don't think he shouldn't be recognized with a bus in that room of, Hall of Fame. Because he has a ton of memorabilia and stuff there in the Hall of Fame, but having his day, and now he'll never have that. Maybe in the future they'll do something like that for his family. But
I think
that hurts.
I think it's going to happen pretty quick.
Yeah,
now that he's not,
for him to be gone. Yeah.
I think so. I think probably in a year or so he'll get into the Hall of Fame. They'll induct him.
He deserved to witness it. That's my take.
I think he did deserve to witness it. Was it horrible? I think that's maybe too harsh of a word for what he did. It was definitely wrong. The thing was, did they ever say did he actually bet on his team losing?
Never.
No. He bet to win.
Once.
He bet to win.
He always bet for them to win.
Yeah.
Right there. To be
he
honest
wasn't
with you,
manipulating the outcome.
If you're a manager of a baseball team, because he was a manager / first baseman. If you're betting on your team to win, that's kind of the manager that I want, to be honest with you. I know it's frowned upon, but if you believe in your team that much that you think you're going to beat the other team and you're willing to put your own money down on it, hey man, more to you.
And that generation gambling was frowned upon and illegal. Look at this. Look what we have now. We got DraftKings, FanDuel, all these other things.
We got Shohei Ohtani.
You know what I mean?
Okay, hold on.
Oh, that's a good example. Shohei Ohtani's
Hold on.
thing.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because it's beyond that these things are available because it's actually all the leagues are in bed with all these gambling
Absolutely, they get a cut of it all.
Yeah, they promote them. They're investors.
They're endorsed by them.
It's prevalent. They're all part of these, FanDuels and DraftKings and
Absolutely
and the sports books. So
whatever more money to be made.
Yeah.
Of course. So they're being hypocrites.
Yeah.
Attendance might be down, TV revenue might be going down, cable going away, but people betting on sports that's going to live on forever, man. So any way you can tap into that, whatever sport it is, if it's baseball, football, basketball, they're going to tap into it for sure.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Pete. It was a pleasure as a sports fan to see your highlights.
My dad talked about him all the time. He thought he was the greatest thing ever. All right. Enough with that. May he rest in peace. Let's move on. First topic, National League champion.
Best record in baseball, baby.
Yeah,
West
why did you
champions.
say on paper? They're by far the best team this year.
Well, hold
Well,
on.
I wouldn't
'Cause
say
the
that.
other- the reason why I said on
Come
paper is because that season's over, man. Now we're into the playoffs.
You're right.
We're in the playoffs, so let's go over it. So Dodger record, they get 98 wins, 54 losses. That percentage is .605, which is the best in baseball. That makes them the best team in baseball, not just the National League, at least on paper. The reason why I say that is it gives them home field advantage throughout the playoffs. That's it, guys. We all know we've seen it before. We like our favorite teams. They're favored in the playoffs, but as soon as the playoffs hit, the best team in sports does not always win. And now it's time to prove that you can now move on to the next level, and that's the playoffs. Ended the season on the high note of, they won last 10 games, they won 8 out of 2. They had a 5-game winning streak. They ended the season with the highest run differential, which is a plus 156. That's it, guys. That's great. It was a great 162 games. The Dodgers frustrated us. There were times where we thought, like, oh man, this team might be going down. They're like only 3 games above the Padres. I think they went down to 2.5 at the end of the season, maybe even 2, but I think it was 2.5. But at the end of the day, they still they still won the NL West with at least by 5 games.
I think it was big. So we can recap the last 2 series. I was a little nervous after that triple play game, and then we ended up winning the series, and then we swept the Rockies. I think we're firing on all cylinders going into the playoffs. I feel pretty comfortable with the team.
Yeah,
I think it was a good thing that the Padres were on their heels, and we weren't given the division.
Yeah, I think the downtimes in the year, you can equate that mainly to injuries. It wasn't like they had extended periods of bad play by multiple people simultaneously.
Well, there was a couple games there, Robbie.
But there's always, people go through slumps. But the reason that they didn't get, this is one of those years no one cracked 100 wins. It wasn't because of extended bad play when they were healthy. It was because of a lot of injuries this year, and they navigated to have the best record in baseball. So that's a plus. Robbie,
there was a couple games there when they were weathering the storm that you and I noticed some bonehead errors in the field that cost them some games.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's here nor there now. Hopefully they got it out of their system. And if they haven't, go see Robbie in his office. He will straighten you out for the playoffs.
Well, enduring the 162 for not only players but fans, now we get to the point where it's the excitement, thrill of will they move on? Will they move on? It's not, hey, we'll go get them. We can go get them tomorrow. We got to win every series from now on. Can't lose a series. So let's move on. Before we keep talking playoffs, let's talk individual stats with the Dodgers. Let's move on to Ohtani. I know we talked about him a lot this last couple of weeks or this last month or so, because he's been, breaking records, being an offensive threat, doing stuff that we haven't seen a player do. But let's just go over really quick what he ended up doing his first year as a Dodger. So Ohtani wins his 3rd Player of the Week award this week. So that's 2 back-to-back weeks that he won Player of the Week. Ends the year leading the NL in pretty much every offensive stat that's meaningful. Runs scored 134, home runs 54 home runs, RBIs 130, OBP is 390, slugging percentage 646, OPS 1.036. He's the first player ever to join the 50-50 club with 54 home runs and 59 stolen bases. He just missed winning the Triple Crown with a 310 batting average, coming in just 4 points under Luis Ariza, who had his own record where he just won his third batting title in a row on third different teams. Hey, here's hoping he can do it 4 times in a row. So, hey, 4 different teams, 4 times in a row, get away from the Padres.
Doesn't that show you how they don't this analytical nonsense is so stupid? The guy wins the batting title on 3 different teams in 3 consecutive years. Like
that's crazy.
That's ridiculous. It's not that he's a locker room cancer. They just don't. He doesn't have enough pop.
Well, they don't like, and stupid.
There's value in a play like that.
I forget who I was listening to, and he brought up a good point. A lot of the times when you get a player who wins the batting title, he's not winning. He's not hitting for power. Like, perfect example, Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn won the batting title multiple times, and he was never known as a power hitter. But that's just like, they're not sought after anymore, those types of baseball players, which is unfortunate because whenever I got a baseball card when I was a kid, the first thing I did is I looked at the back of it. If it was a player I didn't know, I looked at the batting average. The batting average, they weren't even in the 3s. I didn't think they were a good baseball player.
Exactly.
Think about that. And now what, did we get like 5 guys in the National League that batted in the 300s? I think it might have been less than that.
Yeah, so people don't value Wade Boggs, Tony Gwynn, guys like that anymore. So Ted Williams wouldn't be great? Come on, guys.
I guess not. All right. Also, he just missed being the first player ever to go 40-40-40 with 38 doubles. So I didn't even think about that until Eric Carroll said that in the broadcast, but it makes me think, Max, this might be hard. Maybe it's happened 1,000 times. We have no idea. But has there been players that have gotten 30 home runs, 30 doubles, and 30 stolen bases?
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot? You think so?
I can look it up.
I think we witnessed one of the greatest seasons of Major League Baseball player ever.
Definitely one of the greatest offensive seasons of baseball players ever done. I know it's going to bring up the conversation of Judge, and like we've talked about that kind of stuff. But
we're talking Dodgers here.
But not only talking Dodgers, but like not only what he did accomplish his first season, the things that he did that no one else has done, the things that he got close to doing that no one has done in a while or ever is quite remarkable. I don't think he's ever going to have a repeat year like this because he's going to be pitching next year. So I don't think he's going to try to push himself as much as far as at least the stolen bases. Now, he could probably get another 50 home runs next year.
How many years has he been in the league now?
6, 7?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
So
how can we never have this much of a... I mean, did he ever put up numbers like this with the Angels? And if not,
no, this
why
is
not?
his best year.
This is definitely his best offensive year.
The Angels, come on, dude.
He did win 2 or 3 MVPs.
Yeah, 2, right?
2, yeah. So it's not like he's
great years.
Not like he's not a good player already.
Yeah.
It's just this. I feel like with the spotlight on him, and then I think that
we definitely shine. That's for sure.
The fact that he was with the team, I feel like he wanted to be with from the beginning, which was the Dodgers. It added a little extra for him. He's been in the league for quite a while now, so he knows the ins and the outs. He doesn't have to concentrate so much on the pitching now. He doesn't only concentrate on the hitting. He can push himself farther. There's a lot of things that I think helped him get to this point where he could actually have this breakout year, which if you want to call it a breakout year, even though this isn't like he's coming off of a slumpy year or anything like that. I think he was just able to do things he hasn't been able to do before because he had the opportunity to do them now. Now, what's going to happen next year when he's pitching? We'll find out. I guarantee he's not going to be stealing 50 bases.
No. But the pitching will be even more valuable.
The pitching will be even more valuable for sure. As long as he's, let's see what he could pitch after 2 Tommy John surgeries. How long is it going to take him to become a viable pitcher?
World Series.
We're looking at Walker Buehler right now. I mean, he didn't start pitching until halfway through the season. No, maybe a little bit before halfway through the season. And we're just now seeing him become hopefully the Walker Buehler of old. We don't know how long it's going to take Ohtani to come back to be the Ohtani of old if he even gets there after the second Tommy John surgery.
You're not going to be shocked if he's awesome.
I'm not going to be shocked, but I'm also not going to be shocked if he's not awesome. You
Max,
know what I mean?
did you get
from
that?
What I've seen,
yeah.
From what I've seen right now, does it really? Do I really need the pitching to go along with the hitting to justify what he's doing for the Dodgers? I don't know.
It'd be a plus.
It would definitely be a plus, but it wouldn't be missed because we haven't had it yet. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did Robbie or Max, did you find those
Yeah, so
stats?
there's been so many 30
30.
guys. The real list is who has had the most 30 seasons. So that would be Alfonso Soriano. He's done it 4 times. Barry Bonds has done it 3 times. An active player who's actively doing Jose Ramirez, amazing third baseman for the Guardians. He's done it 2 times in his career, and he's still playing. And the
Okay.
list goes on and on and on. There's
Okay.
I mean, this list, I'm already up to 25 people who've done it.
So
But
it's not,
obvi- but-
it's
but
not
no-
a unique
No,
stat.
no, it's not.
But nobody's
But 40,
ever done.
40 would have been unique.
But so this might be kind of a weird question because we look at the 40-40 club as 40 stolen bases, 40 home runs. Has there ever been a 40-40, like 40 home run, 40 doubles before?
Probably.
Because I would think that's a better stat than 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases.
Yeah.
I feel like this is maybe a stupid question that I should already know this. But that's a better. I think that club would
That's
have been
been
named
done 38 times.
40 home runs and 40 stolen, 40 doubles.
Yeah. And twice in 2015. Yeah.
Wow.
Been done 40. Oh, this is an old article, so it's probably done even further. This is an old thing from, let me pull it up. Let me get
Now I feel bad to have a Dodger podcast to talk about baseball. I didn't know that the 40 home runs and 40 doubles has been done that many times.
It would have probably been brought up in the
Yeah, but who's looking for
the sports media landscape if it was a rarity.
Right.
Yeah, it's been done a ton.
Okay. But not with 40 stolen bases, obviously.
So does Ohtani win the MVP?
Unanimously. I'm going to be shocked if one bonehead doesn't vote for him. All right.
Max, what do you think?
He should win it unanimously. I mean, Lindor did. I mean, you saw today they were
Yeah.
about to be. They're losing. You can't be more clutch than that. Hitting a 2-run home run in the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, I saw that.
To put your team into the playoffs.
Yeah, that was pretty epic.
Lindor has been extremely valuable for the Mets, but it's Ohtani easily.
Alrighty.
All right. Let's real quick before we move on to our next topic. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button. Help us spread like a virus.
Like a virus.
We're also on YouTube, so if you want to look at our pretty faces while we make the chit chat, check out our.
Keep going with pretty. What about handsome? Right, Mike? Am I the only one on this? Pretty all the time.
I know it, right? Speak for yourself.
Go check out our Rot Your Brain
soft features. Pretty.
Rot Your Brain YouTube page. Okay.
You can also follow us on Twitter, formerly known as X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and check out our new reels that are coming up. Give us a like and subscribe.
Yep. Viruses.
I've got some pretty good reels out there.
Viruses.
Virus, like a virus.
All right. Let's move on to the next topic. This season had a bunch of surprises for the Dodgers. Let's talk about. I want each person here to name their surprise Dodger MVP for the season who is not one of the MV3s, which would be Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman. So, Mike, I'll start with you. Out of all the players, it could be a pitcher, it could be a position player, stuff like that. Tell me who your breakout player was. Who was your MVP that wasn't one of the MV3s?
I would say, I got two. Tommy Edman and Flaherty.
Okay.
Ooh, the late additions.
Yeah.
For
consistency.
Why
not do three? Do Kopech.
Those two. I would put Kopech in there, but I think Flaherty, based on his consistency of going 5+ innings throughout his duration with the Dodgers,
Right.
And Edman coming off an injury where I didn't really know who he was. I knew he was a Gold Glover. I knew he was good, but the last several weeks when he got his first home run, the way he plays the field, hit clutch in a lot of spots. I think he's going to be a bright spot for the long haul for the Dodgers. So for me, it's Flaherty and Edman.
Okay, I can see that. Max, you want to go? You want me to go?
My guy is a guy they signed as a free agent. It's Teoscar Hernandez. He's been extremely consistent all year round, batting in the heart, right around where they needed him in the heart of the lineup.
He's clutch.
He raked, I think it was second in home runs. He had 33 home runs, 99 RBIs, a 4.3 WAR. So, yeah, that's a really solid free agent signing.
Yeah.
Just the fact, and he was pretty much healthy all year.
Yeah.
When guys around him were out, Betts, Freeman, he was solid all year round. So I would go with Teoscar Hernandez.
That's a good one. That was going to be mine. I thought about Teoscar Hernandez. But then I also thought about Lux, but Lux.
That was my second guy.
But here's the
I was gonna
thing:
choose.
Lux underachieved for what I predicted he was going to do this year. 'Cause remember, I said at the beginning of the season he was going to bat
Yeah.
at least 270 and have 20 home runs. He didn't get that point. He definitely got. He became one of the better hitters on the team after the All-Star break, even though he kind of cooled down at the end of the season. But I can't give it to Lux. I'm going to give it to Gavin Stone. So
Really, the rookie.
It's got to be Stone, and this is the reason why. I mean, granted, he's injured now. He's probably not going to pitch to the playoffs. But until he got injured, which I believe was in the end of August, early September, he was the most consistent pitcher the Dodgers had throughout the entire year, from the beginning to August to the end of August.
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see it coming either because remember,
From you.
Bobby Miller was. I
just mean your pick.
The pick. Well,
Yeah.
So the 5 starting pitchers, Gavin Stone was not on my project. I didn't project Gavin Stone to be on the starting rotation because I thought it was going to be Emmett Sheehan. You had Bobby Miller. You had Glasnow, Yamamoto, and maybe that was
Kershaw. You were thinking maybe?
No, Kershaw wasn't going to come in until halfway through.
Because you remember in the beginning.
Oh,
when,
it was
when we
the
started-
lefty. I can't remember his name. He's not on the team anymore. They picked him up. He was the 5th starter. I can't remember. He's not with the team anymore. It doesn't matter.
Paxton.
Paxton. Those are the 5. Gavin Stone became the 5th starter because Emmett Sheehan was hurt. He didn't start the season with the Dodgers. So Gavin Stone, in a way, kind of came out of nowhere because he had a really bad year last year. I didn't think that he was as good as he was. And then he was super consistent throughout the entire year. He, in my opinion, really held that rotation together while Knack kind of found his groove, while Kershaw was coming back from his injury, while Buehler was coming back from his injury, Glasnow going down, Yamamoto going down really early, Bobby Miller going down, not really getting his start or figuring himself out. It was really Gavin Stone who was the most consistent player throughout the season, pitching wise for me.
That's a good call. It's
Gavin
I like
Stone.
it.
But
yeah, I stayed away from Teoscar just because I felt like that was an easy pick.
Teoscar was an easy pick for sure. But I love the way Teoscar smiles and looks like he's having a blast. My only gripe, and it's smart baseball what he does in the outfield, but he looks lazy in the outfield. But he knows when to hustle and when to just realize this guy's getting a double. I'm just gonna get the ball, play it routine. He just kind of lackadaisically goes to the ball sometimes when it's smart. I mean, him running as hard as he can to get to the ball and throw it in, it's not going to stop the guy from getting a double. He knows when to push himself, when not to push himself, which is what smart veterans do. That's the only thing that bugs me about him. Other than that, I love his approach to the plate. He kind of swings the sliders too much, but other than that, consistency, I love him. Okay.
What do our listeners think? Who's the...
I would love to hear who our listeners' MVPs are.
Yeah, who do you guys think?
Who's not Shohei, who's not Betts, and who's not Freeman.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's move on to the next topic, least valuable player of the season. So this is kind of let's go through who our biggest letdown was and who you were expecting a lot of good things and ended up kind of being a big letdown. So, Mike, you go first in this one, unless Max wants to take the lead on this.
Max, go ahead.
I mean, I didn't go in with it expecting anybody, but someone who I guess didn't look the part, I would go with Bobby Miller.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a lot of starts, but his ERA, his advanced numbers were really off for a guy who's supposed to have really good stuff and who was a highly touted prospect.
Yeah,
and he had a negative WAR, or basically a -2 WAR, which is really bad even for a pitcher. So
yeah, that's a good pick. I mean, you're absolutely right, because the year that he had last year and the first start he had this year, you thought, oh man, he's going to be in the run for the Cy Young. Cause he just looked dominant, and then he could just never find it again. And it's crazy because his stuff looks good for us watching on TV, hitting 100 miles an hour. He's got pitches that drop into the 80s. He's changing speeds, he's changing even if you make mistakes, you would think with that kind of stuff, he would still be able to get by, and he wasn't fooling anybody.
Yeah, he was projected, like I said, as a frontline starter. He was a highly touted, and he just, for whatever reason, this hasn't been his year. Hopefully next year, They fix whatever is going, whether it's mechanical, when he's tipping pitches, whatever it is, they fix it, and then he could be a huge asset for them again.
Yeah. Okay. Mike, what do you got?
The Dodgers starting rotation.
Oh, that's a great one.
The whole rotation. Okay.
That's a great one. Not the training staff.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. I wonder if anything has to do with Mark Pryor, our pitching coach.
Oh, because Pryor was always hurt himself.
Yes.
Pryor was a really good pitcher, but he was always hurt.
He was
Him
always
and Kerry
hurt.
Wood, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, those guys are
when they're on the Cubs.
Yeah, the Cubs, man.
Yeah, my biggest disappointing letdown is the injuries in our starting rotation.
That's a good take, man.
That starting rotation. But yeah, I think of Mark Pryor. Like,
that's a good one.
Come on, Mark, get our pitchers to not get hurt.
So do you think if you're going to blame Mark Pryor, do you think it is because he's kind of helping put together the pitching sequences and stuff, and he's having them rely a lot on the slider or a lot on the stuff that's kind of like
that could be
elbow intensive?
Well, so think about it. That your position coach in this instance is Mark Pryor, right? When you go through your pitching sequences and what you're going to practice in practice, he sets that up.
Yeah.
So maybe he's doing a poor job of managing what the guys pitch and how they throw to keep them healthy over the long term. Whatever he did while he played didn't work.
Here's another. Okay.
I'm just an assumption on my part, but back just to pitching, like something's not working.
Mitigate their stress on their elbows.
Correct. Maybe
that might be something that I don't know if the pitching coach value that, but that might be something that.
Think about it. If you're not throwing your slider just right or whatever off-speed pitch or what it is, you're going to work on that more. But to me, I would be like, okay, name any one of our injured pitchers. Hey, I want you to take it easy on the slider this week. Like, I know we need to work on that, but maybe we just don't throw it as much in practice for you to get it down.
I was never a pitcher, but isn't that kind of stuff like on the grip and the feel of it, right?
I don't know. I don't know much. I was never a pitcher either. I'm just saying it's possible.
That's a really cool take. I like that.
Here's a question for you. So because we are the Dodgers and we can talk like, some teams are the Yankees, Red Sox, these teams that have money, that have a surplus of, pitchers maybe in the wings, knowing that they can go trade for a pitcher, you could buy a pitcher, whatever the case is. And obviously pitching staffs, teams, whatever, they know which pitches are more intensive, that are more stressful to an elbow, injury prone. They're more injury prone. But can they look at it and go, well, we are this team that if we run a glass now into the ground, or if we run Bobby Miller into the ground or something like that, but using these certain types of pitches, it's okay because we know that we can go get a replacement. We know that we have someone in the wings, as opposed to, say, a team that, I'm going to say the White Sox, or we'll say the A's or something like that doesn't have that option. They're not going to have those pitchers throw those pitches as much because they don't have anybody in the wings to come and back them up.
I think that's. You know what I'm saying? If that were true, it's dumb. If you have a Ferrari or a Porsche, or let's just say a Ferrari, you got a Ferrari and the temperature's running a little bit hot, you're going to take it easy so you don't break it. You don't take something that's borderline not running so great and running into the ground because you got 4 more in the stable. You want all 5 and 6 of your top tier cars or performance machines, i.e. our pitching staff, healthy throughout the race.
But if those pitchers aren't pitching like that, that means that when they are pitching, they're not getting those wins. So we're not tallying up those wins. We're not making the playoffs. We're not making that extra money. See what I'm saying?
I don't think you pitch people into the ground.
No, sometimes I feel like they do. I don't know.
Then they shouldn't.
I'm just saying it's worth a thought. I'm not saying they are doing that. I'm just kind of curious if you thought that maybe that might be a conversation.
The only reason why that wouldn't be a good idea is if you're going to pitch somebody in the ground, you sure as heck wouldn't give him a huge contract if you're just going to burn them up.
True.
Listen, I like where you're going with it, and I kind of agree a lot what you're saying, Mike. But me, if I'm one of these teams, you know how I feel. I am pitching you to get a title because you're going to break down regardless. I don't think everybody throws hard, no rest, they still get hurt. People blow out elbows game 1. They blow it out in spring training. They blow it out game 154. Just pitch and try to win. If it blows out, luck of the draw.
Yeah,
But I like what you're saying. But I would be one of those organizations like just go, man. Because I'm just thinking about like phenoms like Doc Gooden. If Doc Gooden was on here today, they would probably like be afraid to even call him up early and let him pitch, and the Mets wouldn't have gotten that World Series in '86, right?
Yeah.
So like just go for it, man. Titles are hard to get if you let them max out, because they're all going to get hurt regardless.
I would have him.
But I like what you're saying.
I agree with you, Max, and let him lay it all out there. But to me, just like, I think it needs to be done in the playoffs. Is what I mean.
Yeah,
that's
just go all out in the playoffs.
Yeah,
right?
go out in the playoffs. Like lose it in the playoffs, because you lose a series, you're done for the year.
Yeah.
So,
Sure. But it's a great conversation, great thing, man. I give you that.
Let's go win a World Series, boys.
All right.
Let's go Dodgers.
My pick, I'm going with James Outman.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah,
so I feel like we kind of forgot about Outman because he was off the team very quickly.
Bad enough that we brought in a replacement.
So last year,
played in 53 games.
Last year was his rookie year, and I feel like I don't know where he came up on the actual rookie of the year, but I'm pretty sure he was in the top 5 at least.
I'll get that
so these numbers really fast. So let's see. His batting average last year.
He was third in rookie of the year.
Third rookie of the year. So he batted .248. He had an OBP of .358. Slugging percentage .437. He had 23 home runs. He had 3 triples, 16 doubles, 16 stolen bases. I mean,
really good, solid rookie year.
He had good, solid numbers. His OPS was 790.
Yeah,
that's pretty good for a rookie year. What he ended up in 2024,
not so much.
Batting average 147. He had 4 home runs. Slugging percentage was .265.
Ow.
OPS was .521. He also wasn't playing in as many games because he did not look good from the very get-go. I was disappointed for 2 things. One, I was disappointed for how poorly he started in the beginning, and then I was also disappointed for how fast the Dodgers basically cut him loose and sent him back to the minors. I understand why they did it, because they want him to get at bats down there. Hopefully he can find his groove and then send him back up. But I really wish, and this kind of goes to like, being a team that's like doesn't have as many prospects, as many opportunities, whatever you want to call it. Like Corbin Carroll, I think it's him for the Astros, or not for the Astros. Boo.
Diamondbacks.
For the Diamondbacks.
Boo.
He was rookie of the year last year, and he started off really poor. I don't even think he started to find his groove until August of this year.
Pretty much until the Dodgers Diamondbacks series.
Exactly.
It was that series that he found his groove again.
But he stayed up. They dropped him from the top of the order. They dropped him down. I think he was batting 7th or 8th in the lineup. He was still getting his at-bats. He was seeing Major League Baseball. He was seeing Major League Baseball pitching, and he figured it out and became probably one of their better hitters and really got them at least close to making the playoffs. I know they missed it by a game, but it wouldn't have happened if they didn't stick with him. And I kind of wish the Dodgers would have done that with Outman, because there was a couple moves that the Dodgers did. One, getting Kiermaier, which made no sense to me still, because Kiermaier, yes, plays elite defense center field wise, but he's a left-handed bat he's not going to hit the ball as well as the upside for him is not as much upside as it is for Outman. So I was just disappointed in that move. I was disappointed in just, Paez playing center field. I feel like Paez is a better corner fielder. If you would have stuck with Outman in center field, put Paez more in right field, I feel like they could have stepped away from. I know Hayward was a favorite for a lot of people, but stepping away from Hayward made more sense to me because he's a 1-year contract veteran on its way out. Stick with the young guys and see if you could have built them up to be for the future. So hopefully, though, next year, Outman ended strong in AAA. I thought they would have brought him up a little bit sooner. They only brought him up for the last game of the season, and I think he played 5 innings. I think he walked, maybe got a hit or something like that.
Can Outman play right field?
He could play right field, but they're not going to put him in right field.
Edman's going to play center, right?
Yeah, but I think.
So where does that leave Outman?
Outman's not going to be. He's a long shot to be brought up for the playoffs.
I'm not talking playoffs. I'm talking like long-term future next year.
I don't know. Well, one thing is Miguel Rojas. Miguel Rojas, I do not believe is under contract next year. So depending on what they do with Lux and Betts is going to determine what options they have for for Tommy Edmonds, because if
He might play short. He could play short.
he could play short, if they step away from Lux and they put Lux in a trade package to go somewhere else, and then I really strongly believe Betts is going to be playing second base next year. I think they want to take the wear and tear off of his legs. That just means if Lux can play shortstop. If Lux can't play shortstop, I think they're going to trade Lux, and unless they get a shortstop to replace him, they move Edmonds to shortstop. Then maybe that makes some room for Outman. I think Outman might be on the trading block before the season starts next year. Just because I think there's a lot of teams that would want to. There's a lot of upside for Outman. I think a lot of teams want to take a stab at him and see if they can make it work.
So he could end up to be the next Jason Worth.
Yeah.
But we had bad luck with outfielders going away and then turning into all-stars.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's he had a tough season this year. I thought for sure he'd be a shining star.
I thought so.
All-star, elite level.
Yeah, I thought the way that
He's still young.
It sucks because the way Bobby.
True, but what he showed, like Robbie mentioned, what he showed last year, it was a ton of upside and a ton of promise, and he just.
Same with Bobby Miller.
Yeah, both of them.
I mean,
neither one of them stepped into Robbie's office.
I bet you Bobby Miller was in the top 10, top 5 of Rookie of the Years as well, because he had to
be top 5. He was tearing it up last year.
Bobby Miller last year was what Gavin Stone was this year, which he really held that rotation together because, look at it. Bobby Miller was one of the starters in the rotation for the playoffs because Kershaw was injured and, Kershaw still pitched, but your options were an injured Kershaw, a rookie Bobby Miller, and then, God, what is that guy's name again? From the A's? Doesn't matter. 4 home run guy galore. Doesn't matter. Bobby Miller pitched really good last season, so it was a really shock for Bobby Miller.
He didn't place in anything.
Really, that is shocking.
Yeah.
Speaking of the A's, let's just bring it up. They played their last game in Oakland. What do you guys feel about that as far as baseball history and no more baseball in Oakland?
Bad ownership.
I agree with that, but do you feel like
bad ownership?
Do you think their move to Vegas is a good thing? I know it's the future of media and entertainment, but I love Oakland,
I'm excited.
The Oakland A's, the Oakland Raiders, I feel like the town of Oakland's getting the short end of the stick.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the A's to move to Las Vegas because it's more, at least it's going to be easier for me to see an A's game in Vegas than it is for me to see an A's game in Oakland. You know what I mean?
I don't blame you.
And my family was in Vegas. I would make the drive to go see an A's game. I'd make a drive to go see the Dodgers play the A's
in Vegas
than I would to make a drive to Oakland to see them play there. And it's not because
I just think the history's gone. It's kind of sad,
Yeah. I agree.
I agree with that.
Goes back to the way
brothers.
Well, just all of it. Just Reggie Jackson came from the A's. You want to talk about Yankee guy? Reggie Jackson came to the Bash Brothers. Ricky Henderson, my first baseball hit. So the very first time, Eckersley,
Vita Blue.
Yeah, Vita Blue. My very first memory of watching baseball on TV was, I believe, it had to be the A's. Harold Baines played for the A's, right?
Yeah,
I think so. So Nolan Ryan was pitching on TV, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Nolan Ryan. My eyes were like deer in headlights. And Harold Baines had a 2-run shot off him, the first or second pitch, and I'll never forget that. It was the first memory of watching TV or baseball on TV. But shout out to the Oakland Athletics and their fan base. Sorry that you guys are losing your team, but you can watch us Dodgers win the World Series this year.
There you go. All right, that's gonna do it for Player Spotlight.
Brought to you by
Max.
Player Spotlight is brought to you guys by Rot Your Brain Media, the up-and-coming podcast company delivering top-quality content across all podcast platforms. From sports entertainment to in-depth movie and TV reviews, eventually, Rot Your Brain Media is your go-to for fun and exciting content. Don't miss out. Visit their Patreon page at patreon.com/rotyourbrainmedia to support this dynamic new company and be part of something special. Subscribe now and get ready to have your brain truly entertained.
And that's how you do a read.
That's a good ad spot right there.
I love it.
Keep it moving.
All right, let's jump into the playoff bracket. So it's set. Let's preview the Braves and Padres series. Let me go ahead and pull the bracket up here. Bada bing.
While you're doing that, I've been trying to effort to see. The Braves are pretty much on a plane right now. I don't even know if they've landed in San Diego yet. So they haven't announced their pitching rotation. But going in, their ace, Chris Sale, is going to win freaking the Cy Young.
A Triple Crown? No.
Yeah,
Triple Crown, yeah.
Triple Crown. Yeah.
Triple Crown.
He was supposed to pitch one of those rain-out games during the hurricane with the Mets. They pushed him back for the weekend. Then they pushed him back again that he was supposed to be the game 2 starter today, but then they said he had back spasms. So I don't know if they assumed they were going to at least win one game and they held him back for tomorrow. All of a sudden, the back spasms won't be there, and he'll pitch game 1. But the Padres have set their rotation. They're starting with former Yankee Michael King, game 1, Mr. Glossy Ears Musgrove in game 2, and Dylan Cease in game 3. I'm kind of surprised that they went that route. I would have preferred to have Cease in one of the first 2 games. So the Braves, they lost a lot of players, but they have, Cease, they have what do you call it again? They have Max Fried, who's a phenomenal pitcher. They have the rookie Schoenbeck. He's been great all year, and of course Chris Sale. So this is not going to be a layup for the Padres. I know you guys don't want to see the Padres in the. I
don't know if I want to see the Braves either.
These are the 2 teams. I mean, it's not the Diamondbacks, but the Braves and the Padres. If you look at the 4 right now, which is the Mets, Brewers, Braves, and Padres.
Yeah.
The 2 teams. If you had to name 2 teams, I don't want to see the next round. It would be Padres and Braves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the Braves know how to win. They have that institutional knowledge of winning in the playoffs. So
this is when you're looking at that 2nd seed going, man.
It would have been nice to get that side of the bracket, right?
Mets or Brewers, I'd much rather have taken that. But at the same time,
I feel like the now that you mention that, I feel like the playoff brackets meant for Bryce Harper to win a World Series this year.
It definitely looks that way. What's interesting,
they were my pick in the beginning to get there, but they were going to lose to the Yankees.
I know that the Padres won the regular.
I had to do it.
I know that the Padres won the regular series against the Dodgers, and I do believe the Braves did as well. Can we look at that really fast?
Wait, the Yankees are speaking of the Yankees, sorry. Yankees are the 1 seed, Max?
Yeah, they lucked their way in there. The Guardians wet the bed. They should have taken. The Yankees are stupid.
Or the Guardians knew that your better odds are the 2 seed.
You want to play Houston? I don't know, man. Houston knows
I'd like to see. We hate
that.
Houston cheaters.
They'll cheat their way in. And Detroit has been like the hottest team since the trade deadline.
I want to see Detroit take them out in the first round.
They could. Skubal, who's going to win the Cy Young over there, and he's been phenomenal this year. So
playoff baseball, man! I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
Starts tomorrow.
Woohoo! Let's go Dodgers. Shohei lead us to a title.
So, anyways, did the Braves win or beat the Dodgers in the regular series, or did they have the overall?
I think, I
believe
think
so.
they did.
Oh, there you go.
Let's look that up real quick. Dodgers.
So it's gonna be.
So you would prefer the Braves?
With the Braves or the
I don't know,
what I'm
man.
saying. Either way, it's gonna be tough for the Dodgers. Hopefully, my hope is that these 2 teams beat each other up. It goes 3 games. And I feel like one thing that does suck is that there's a day off in between. I feel like if you are playing a wild card round, you should have no days off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No rest.
They have to do more advantage for the teams that are 1st and 2nd seed.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel like there should be no day off. But having said that, though, I think that both these teams match up really well against each other with the pitching staffs. I think it's not going to be a walk in the park for either one of them. Hopefully, with the Braves not limping in to play the Padres, because the Padres, they are a force to be reckoned with as far as that lineup, and it does scare me a little bit.
And they have really good pitching staff and a great bullpen.
Yeah,
so it's gonna be a tough series. But the Braves, they'll brave. They'll
brave.
It's a line they say in basketball about the Heat. They say the Heat will heat. Because Miami Heat, whatever they do, they find a way when they get to the playoffs and make a run. And the Braves are kind of the same thing in baseball. They find a way.
We split the series with the Braves. We lost the first 2, won the last 2.
Yeah.
But they're huge splits. We lost 6-2, 10-1. Then we won 9-2 and 9-0. And that was with
Yeah, they're not whole, but they're still solid.
Yeah.
And the Padres, they're pretty much whole. So
I think I fear the Padres lineup more than I do the Braves.
yeah, I can see that. Olsen hasn't been the typical crazy season that he usually has this year.
But he's been really good.
He's heated up. He's heated up
this last month.
Yeah, he has. And Albies is great, and Ozuna has been great all year.
Yeah.
D'Arnaud always gets clutch hits in the playoffs. So the Braves have some solid. Oh, and they're getting great play from Laureano. He used to be an Oakland A. So there's a lot there. But I still think the Padres are going to win that series because I think I prefer their bullpen over the Braves bullpen.
What do you think, Robbie?
I agree with that. I think the Padres lineup is deeper as far as like 1 through 9, but the individual star change, like a game-changing power, I think is on the Braves as far as like their big three.
We forgot about Solar, the former MVP of the World Series. He's starting to rake too, and when he hits, he gets bombs.
Yeah,
so he's starting to pick it up as well. So the Braves are still dangerous.
The question is like, playoffs. Everybody says pitching is key. Is pitching going to be? Is the Padres pitching good enough to hold back the Braves?
I think
I
so.
think that's what we're going to find out.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I think
San Diego wins the series. I think.
Yeah, I think
they're the better team.
The Braves do have, I would say, the 3 starters that they're going with. I would prefer those 3 over the Padres 3. But like Robbie says, I prefer the Padres lineup.
Well, I think last podcast, didn't you make a point, Robbie, that you think the Padres are the second best team in baseball?
If like not paper wise, if you're looking at like the lineup, the way their lineup stacks,
the way they carry each other,
their pitching staff. Because if you look at the Padres, figured it out halfway through the season. The problem is they dug themselves in such a big enough hole that it was hard for them to get out of it. But if the Padres played as well as they did the second half of the season, the first half of the season, they would be the best team in baseball on paper, for sure. I just think that's just it's their egos. I feel like has always held them back, and I think they figured it out this last half of the season, and that's what kind of scares me about them if they go in with that kind of swagger. But I still think the Dodgers are the better team. The question is, are the Dodgers going to be? It's in the playoffs. It's always who's hot at the moment. The better team in baseball doesn't always win. I would say
especially
the majority.
In this new format.
Yeah, I would say the majority of the time, the best team in baseball doesn't win. If I have to go back and look at all the teams that have won previously throughout the years, it seems like it's been either a wild card or the third place team or someone that's come in. It's not always the number one team that kind of wins it. And it's just who's ever hot in the moment. The Padres going into the playoffs they're not hot at the moment. They weren't the best team in baseball. They were kind of falling off a little bit. The Dodgers were the hottest team in baseball going into the playoffs, but they're now going to sit around for 4 or 5 days.
Ridiculous.
I think it's a good. Okay, so out of all the years and all the seasons where the Dodgers locked up the NL West early on and they kind of cruised into the playoffs, Max had mentioned it several times over the last few weeks or whatever at our podcast that maybe they need to be challenged and maybe they need to work for the division towards the end of the season. Now, what I will say with all the injuries that we've had and people getting banged up, I'm going to say the 4 and 5 days off is going to do them good health-wise to be fresh going into the divisional series. I think it's going to help them this year rather than harm them because they had to work for the division title this year.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at it that way.
I mean, Freddie Freeman's got to heal.
Freeman's got to heal. You got Miguel Rojas has got to heal.
Yeah, and then you got. Flaherty pitched a ton of innings the last, 5 weeks of the season, 6 weeks of the season, and I'm sure he could use a little bit of a break.
Yamamoto could have used a break after his last start.
Absolutely.
For sure. Walker Buehler, same thing. I mean,
and it gives us time for people that, maybe Gonsolin's an option,
We'll talk about that in the next episode for who's going to be their options stuff in the bullpen.
I think it helps with people getting a little bit healthier and having options.
That's a lot of the big debate and a lot of shows this week is do you prefer the time off so you can set your rotation, or do you don't want your batters, your hitters, to lose their timing? So which is better? To play every day and have your hitters still be on their
If we
on the
didn't have
timing, or do you want to set your rotation?
if we didn't have the
you know?
if we didn't have the injuries that we have this year, I would say keep playing and playing the wild card. With all the injuries and everybody getting dinged up, especially our pitching staff, I think we need the rest.
Here's the thing: you've got enough pitchers that are supposed to be in the majors that you're not going to be using in the playoffs to basically help your pitchers help your hitters keep their timing. I'm going to name 2 guys right now. You've got Bobby Miller sitting there, who throws 100 miles an hour, who's got all his pitch. I mean, he's got his repertoire of pitches and stuff like that. You've got Michael Grove sitting there, who could be pitching to them as well. And then possibly
You're saying
Tony
Bobby
Gonsolin.
Miller in the playoffs?
No. What I'm saying is simulated games, pitching to your hitters right now so they don't lose their timing.
I agree with that. Sure.
You could be using those guys right now to be throwing to Freeman, to Betts, to Ohtani, to
I
all
agree.
of your
You
guys
know what someone said?
to keep that
I agree.
going.
They should bring their AAA team and play games, like to keep guys fresh. Someone brought
They
that
totally
up.
should.
You know, outside the box thinking.
I know they played sim games last year. They said they were going to play like intense sim games to make sure that they stayed stayed fresh. That didn't work.
Yeah.
So I don't know what their plan is. Maybe Roberts has mentioned something. Max, you can maybe look at it, what they're going to be doing on these off times to kind of keep fresh, to not lose that intensity. Because even when they went into Colorado, with the exception of the last game, because they were kind of swapping a lot of players out, they didn't play out like throughout. They went into Colorado with that same intensity that they played with the Padres, and just went and gave them the business.
They dismantled
handled
the
But
Rockies
now,
are handled.
they're kicking their feet up and relaxing. Hopefully not. Hopefully they're still sticking with that intensity, and they're doing something in the background to make sure that they're, on paper, it looks like they're taking the time off and they're keeping fresh, but these guys still have to have some kind of regimen sitting there.
Yeah,
to
there's a
keep that
balance.
intensity
There's definitely
going.
a balance for sure.
I'll tell you this though.
I don't trust Robertson being innovative into that though.
Yeah, I'll tell you this though. Of all years, if the Yankees and the Dodgers come out flat because of this time off, there's going to be some serious conversations of changing this format.
Yeah, the two biggest markets.
The two biggest
getting kicked out
markets,
again.
two biggest franchises, they're flat because of the time off. It's Ohtani's not hitting, Judge is not hitting, Soto's not hitting, Betts not hitting because their timing is off because they've been sitting for a week. There's going to be some grumblings that they need to change this thing.
Man, that sucks so bad because the 2 weeks that Ohtani just had,
I know he's red hot,
like he's not red, like he's like
atomic.
He's the sun. Like he batted over 700 one week, and then the last week he batted close to 600.
I hope he brings it in, right?
Insane. If you could have been bring that bat into the playoffs, that's a bat that carries you throughout the playoffs. And it's very difficult to say that one player, one offensive threat can carry a team, but what he did could carry the team.
I don't think you can have a problem with Ohtani bringing his A game to the playoffs. He's never been in the playoffs, and
so we don't know.
No, but what I'm saying is, in the last 10 games that he's been playing with, he's showed swag with his homers, his doubles, his clutch hitting. Like his personality's showing out as far as like his intensity for the game. I really don't think he's gonna have a problem, coming to play.
I don't think so either, but you have to account that
how
now in the
pumped I'd be?
playoffs, you're facing the top of you're not facing the fourth or fifth, starter or bullpen guy. You're facing aces of really good teams, so it is harder to hit in the playoffs.
I think he'll be fine.
I still think he should be okay, but I wouldn't have complete confidence because you have the time off. He's never been there before, and you're facing top flight pitching.
I think he's going to step up.
I mean, you're facing the Braves, and he's going up against the Cy Young winner. So that's
I don't think it's going to affect him that much.
What we need to see though is Betts and Freeman stepping up though, because that was the big scare.
Was Freeman going to play?
Season. Freeman's going to play, but here's what I'm hoping. Because last time Freeman took some time off this season and then came back, he was red hot for 2 weeks. So hopefully this time off now kind of helps him and come back red hot. Betts this last month kind of teetering towards being in a slump. It hasn't really been he's had a lot of pop-ups. Like his swing has been uppercutting a lot, which makes me feel like he's being fooled on some breaking pitches. And hopefully he straightens that swing out. I don't expect Betts to be hitting bombs the entire time, so swinging for the fences might not be what he needs to do. I think if he gets his swing back to hitting line drives, the home runs will come. And I feel like he's been swinging for the fences maybe a little too much. If he can kind of control his swing a little bit more, Freeman makes that contact that he's known for, going opposite. I feel like he's been trying to pull it a lot as well. Same thing with Betts too. Betts seems like he's been pulling a lot. When a lot of his hits that I feel like he's been getting towards the last couple weeks of the season were opposite shots. Like he was going with the ball away as opposed to trying to pull it. Him and Freeman kind of have a similar swing sometimes. If they can do that and then Ohtani stays hot and then everybody else in the lineup does what they do, then yeah, we'll have some good games. And if our bullpen shows up, that's how we're going to win it. I don't think we're going to win it off starting. We're going to win it off of our bullpen and our offense. And I think Max might have said that already. I might have been copying Max, but I think that's what the key is going to be. All right. Do you want to break down anything else for the Padres and Braves, or is that going to do it for this episode?
Oh, one thing.
I don't care about that series.
Is this guy going
Fill
to
the time.
You can't go to the bathroom, dude. Is it number 1 or number 2? I just want to know how much time I have. Okay.
I'm really, you know what? So we could talk about it a little bit. So
Where's my number 2?
I really think I'm really looking forward to see how Kopech does in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun to watch. He looked really good on the back half of the season. I hope he keeps it up.
Hopefully the rest does Flaherty some good, because obviously it seems like he's been struggling those last
I think he's
couple
just
outings.
pitching a ton.
How could we not bring it up?
Oh, hold on.
It was somebody's birthday the other day. So
Oh,
how can we not bring it up? We got to go with your favorite snack, right?
What's your favorite snack, Robbie?
Apparently it's that. It's
A little
Ruffles.
brew
Okay.
and the Talkin Dodgers birthday cake.
Nice.
Happy birthday, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Happy birthday, Robbie.
Thank you, guys. All right. I'm 28 years old. Congratulations to me.
Should we close it out by singing you happy birthday on air?
You can if you want.
I'm not singing happy birthday, dude.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Talkin' Dodgers, your number 1 Dodger fan podcast. If you like what you've been hearing, please go check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/RotYourBrainMedia. Help contribute to the show. Each contribution helps us create new content that I'm sure that you love so much because you listen to this podcast all the way to the end. Please don't forget to click that like and subscribe. Help us spread like a virus.
Like a virus.
And
Don't
if you
forget.
stayed, send Robbie some good birthday wishes in the comments so we can...
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Comment on Twitter.
Hey, best comment, we'll read
X.
it on Thursday's episode.
Absolutely. Thursday's episode, hopefully we'll have more of a clearer picture on which team it's looking like is going to win. Hopefully we already don't know the winner, because that means that, well, they win the next 2 games, right? Because today is Monday, and that means that the team won. We want the series to go 3 games total, so hopefully
Yes.
we're just talking about what's happened in the series.
The series over Thursday.
We need, you know what we need? We need 3 games,
Wait.
games, and we need them going to
It
extra
is
innings
over
in every.
Thursday.
Series
No,
is over
but hear me
Thursday.
out.
Yeah,
We
'cause
need
they
an
have no
extra
days
innings in
off.
every single one of
No,
them.
Friday they're off.
That's right. You are absolutely right.
Yeah,
So
we'll know who they're playing
Okay,
Thursday.
all right.
Thursday is a whole preview of the divisional round. We'll know
you
exactly
are
who it is.
absolutely
We want extra
right.
innings in every one of those games.
All right.
That's the way to look at it for real.
That would be amazing. Each game goes 20 innings.
Help
Love
us spread like a virus on X, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. What am I missing, Max? Or Twitter is X, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Keep going, Mike.
It's all down there.
Check out the new reels that are coming out. They're popping.
We'll catch you next time. Bye.
See ya.
You didn't tell the people what you did for your birthday.
I didn't do much, man.
What's this?